Okay, folks, welcome back to another fantastic edition of Opal Eye Presents Know Your Pros. Today, we have Nathan Maffin, a fitness coach at Nathan Maffin Fitness. He focuses on movement, mobility, and training, and helps folks move more freely in fitness and in life. Nathan, thank you so much for being a guest today on our show.
Perfect intro. Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
Of course, of course. I know you're a Pasadena guy. I know you well from our networking group that we're both a part of here. And I know you have all sorts of beautiful offerings at your service. You've got virtual stuff. You have a home gym here in Pasadena. You've been in business for 21 years, and I want our viewers to understand like how you got to that space. Why go out and start your own company yourself? I mean, was this ever a side hustle for you, and then it became the
It was.
thing?
Yes, good point. It was a side hustle. I was actually an artist, believe it or not, at art school. And I loved fitness. I loved taking care of myself. And I thought I could be a coach or a trainer on the side while I was kind of doing my work, trying to get into some shows or get illustration business going.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just ended up becoming my business. It just took off. And that's where I wanted to be. And that's how I wanted to help people.
So what was
Yeah.
that flashpoint for you? Like, was it just one day where you were just like, I'm going all in on this? I mean, obviously you've got to.
Yeah, I think I just really loved the change that you could do with people and yourself in such a short period of time with health and movement and fitness. And I just realized I could impact people's lives much on a very direct way, more than I think I was doing with my artwork at the time. And so,
Gotcha.
yeah, it was very kind of amazing thing I just discovered in the process. And I just gravitated more and more towards time into that. Yeah.
Okay. And before we kind of started shooting, we were talking a little bit about mobility.
Mhm.
And, I know that you are a big advocate of movement. And, you make a good point about the impact on people's lives with what you do. And I usually ask people why this industry of fitness, but to you, it's much more than just fitness, and that's in you not being just a personal trainer, you're a fitness coach. So talk a
Mhm.
little bit about that. Like, where does that impact kind of go
Well, I
in?
think, really, I just think of movement. It's just movement. Fitness is just a part of moving, right? And people need multiple entry points into moving. And it may not be the traditional sort of workout structure. Mobility can often be that entry point for people where they come in and they start just getting better access to their body. They start to feel better moving. It ups their desire to move. It makes movement feel less straining. And then fitness just sort of naturally kind of creeps into it because they just start to find more of a connection to themselves, and fitness starts to feel less like an obstacle and a task. It just feels like a natural flow from that.
Well, so many people these days, like myself included, like are kind of just covered in this like shell of, the desk work or
Yeah.
not having done like a session of yoga for like a year or more. And, touching your toes seems like a gargantuan monumental task. And if you
Yeah.
focus on like just moving each day, moving is like kind of the first step to walking to then running, right? So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
foundational what you do.
Very foundational. Yes. Often I'm working with people on breathing mechanics when they first show up, and that's not what they expect usually.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, it's all breathing. I
It
use
is.
a lot of things.
Yeah, mindset's important too. I think you mentioned it. As we get sort of more stuck in our positions, so does our mindset. I'll never be able to touch my toes. I mean, touching your toes is so funny. You said that. I work with people, especially with low back issues, who just think I'll never touch my toes, and then we're touching their toes in like a week or something,
Oh,
and it just opens them up to going, wait a minute, I have to almost have the expectation that I'm going to do more than I can expect. And I think that's where I really love to see people get into fitness, is it just realize that, wait a minute, it could be so much more than I ever thought. That's
oh.
really exciting.
And I feel like we're kind of bulldozing right over my final question, which is always like, why should somebody call Nathan Maffin Fitness over that next fitness coach, that other personal trainer out there? I mean, we're talking a lot about it right now, but what is that answer from your point of view?
I think mostly what's important to me now, especially with making it sustainable, is helping people identify with the change that they really want. Really showing them how it's going to fit into their day, minute to minute. Like, this is what fitness is going to look like for you and can look like. and we're going to do it right in here so you can experience it and then take it right out the door with you. So you have habits you can use immediately. You have ways of thinking, we're not just assessing movement, we're assessing mindsets that are getting in the way. You mentioned not being able to touch our toes. That's really a mindset. It's not necessarily true, right? So we're trying to kind of break all these myths down, all the obstacles that you're putting in front of yourself. We're just unleashing you, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And tell our viewers too, before we wrap things up, about
Yeah.
some of the offerings. We talked about like the virtual stuff. You do have a home gym there that is huge.
Yeah.
Like you're standing
Yeah.
in the thing.
Yeah.
But beyond like maybe just fitness training, like are you offering any like coaching as well, or what's
Yes,
the
lots of coaching. I do sort of get into the habit building side. So I do get into people's lives as much as they're willing to let me. So we can figure out like where movement needs to be put into their day. What can we do about the way they're kind of behaving throughout the day with movement, postural stuff. So everybody does an assessment when they come in. I kind of look at where they need change, where they need to work on things. And then we just try to be really creative about how we fit that in. And creative is a big word, because the more creative you can be with fitting it in, the more it starts to be that change that you're identifying with. Like, how does it look for Henry to work on his mobility versus me, right? Our days are going to be different, your schedule. So we really look at it. And I find that everybody finds places to fit in that work where they just didn't think it was possible.
right? And I was going to say, I mean, like you better find a way to be creative if you're going to, take on this endeavor of investment in yourself. I mean, in your own life, in your own fitness. And I mean, I think that's something that you enable for everybody that walks through that door, Nathan. So before we wrap things up, tell folks where they can find you, your website, your socials. Give us the scoop.
Yeah, I say definitely check out my Instagram at Nathan Maffin Fitness, and then nathanmaffinfitness.com is my website. And then give me a call, shoot me a text, 626-644-7623. I'm happy to answer questions. Free 15-minute consultation is a piece of cake. I'd love to just share a little bit about what I just said, get people to open their eyes a little bit about what's possible. Happy to do that.
Folks, I mean, invest in yourselves, invest in your mobility. Fitness is life, and that's what Nathan Maffin is here to talk to us about today. Nathan, I can't thank you enough for being a guest here today on Know Your Pros, man. I hope we do another one soon.
Yeah, me too. I would love to. It's been a blast, buddy.